It's not a good day to be a bad guy.
What's up, metalheads? This is Wayne.
And Michelle.
And we are from the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast. And you are listening to
Burton and Aaron on the Lost in the Dark podcast.
Raise Your Horns.
Lost in the dark.
Welcome back, Crip Crow, and welcome to Lost in the Dark's Filthy 1521 episode 1, 2021 episode 1. This is it. This is our end of the year send off 2021 album of the year list. This is part 1. We recorded a lot of hours, so I had to chop it up a bit. This is part 1, albums 15 through 10. So basically our first 5 on the list, and all these will be coming out this week. I'm not going to hold anything back, but thank you so much for tuning in for episode 1 on this one. We had a lot of fun doing this, a lot of fun going over all the amazing fucking shit that came out this year. Absolutely incredible. So because of that and how long these are, I'm not gonna take a lot of time here at the top. I won't do any band shout outs because that's kind of what these episodes are in a lot of ways. But I will do real quick a few podcast shout outs. First up, our fucking family over there in Wisconsin, the Dipping Milk in Cookies podcast. Join hosts Garrett, the Cookie Commander Smith, and Mike, the Master Milker Segovia, as those two best friends try to figure out this thing we call life using friends, guests, and microphones. Absolutely an amazing podcast and deserves every ounce of your attention. They have like these amazing segments. They're wildly interactive with fans, and they're some of the coolest dudes ever. And I can't wait. Hopefully one day, someday this year, fingers crossed, we'll finally be able to do like a crossover episode with them or something. I really want to talk to these guys and have them back on the show. Garrett, of course, we've had on a few times through the band Reflection of Flesh, who just announced a tour. They're going on tour with Bound by Years. They got a Kalamazoo date here in Michigan in March. I will be there. So check out Reflection of Flesh. Check out those tour dates. And if you're in Michigan, I'll see you there. Next up and last but never least, our family, our Michigan-owned family. You heard them at the top. You hear them at the top of every episode. They did that amazing read for us. Of course, I'm talking about the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast. Coming to you from the glacial dumping ground known as the Michigan Basin, Wayne and Michelle are a husband and wife educator and podcasting duo that examine UFOs and other paranormal topics within Michigan and beyond. Topics include the paranormal, conspiracy theories, UFOs, ghosts, alternative history, the Michigan Dogman, Bigfoot, cryptids, and all things strange and paranormal. Wayne and Michelle are amazing people. They just had an amazing episode with a psychic medium, actually, that I found really interesting. If you are into anything strange and paranormal, this is a great podcast for you to check out. For me, it's a gift that keeps giving. Every time they have a new guest on that I'm not terribly familiar with, I end up following them on everything and having like a whole new wormhole to go down. So absolutely one of the best podcasts out there going. Again, Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast. And don't forget the Dipping Milk in Cookies podcast. But without further ado, I'm just going to dive right into this one. This one more time is part 1 of our Filthy 15 2021 album of the year list. And this episode right here is albums 15 to 10. I hope you all enjoy. Raise your fucking horns. We're back, motherfuckers.
What up?
So here it is, everyone. Here it is, Crip Crew. Welcome back, Crip Crew. Welcome back, everyone. This is it. This is our like farewell 2021 Filthy 15 album of the year special. Of course, we name it the Filthy 15 after the Filthy 15 list that the PMRC created way back in the early 90s to get the parental advisory labels on everything. This is our way of saying fuck you to them and creating our own Filthy 15 list every year of our favorite albums from the year. We have this year's going to be a little bit different. In the past, in the past, I think we made it a rule to where we didn't include EPs or live albums.
Yeah.
And I think that we went back on the live album rule last year. And so this year we're going back on the EP rule.
Yeah.
We make rules so that way we can break them later. That's just what we do here.
I mean, is there anything more metal than that? Like,
No.
just
Absolutely
well, and
not.
and I like honestly, out of everything that's come out, like some of the EPs that have come out, kind of like, you know, are just some of the best that we've heard this year. Just some of the stuff that really stuck with us, you know.
Exactly.
Like,
So it's some of the best music we've heard this year. Absolutely. And it is kind of like, it surprises me even still that how much time I spent with some of them, more so than full length albums this year and stuff like that.
yeah.
So, but yeah, let's, I mean, without any further ado, I guess we could just dive right into it.
Yeah.
Start it
May as
off.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but what we did do, just so everybody knows, two things. One, except for the final four, these are in no particular order. This isn't our 15th favorite. No, this is just, it's on the list.
Although we could have done that. But,
we could have, but bad.
yeah. It always feels like too much of a, like, say, like this one is this, and then this one is the actual, like, you know.
Yeah, I don't rank them in my own head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna do it here either. So it's not in any particular order until we get to the final four. Those are in a particular order. And also how this worked is so besides the final four, we each picked one to fill it out. So we're going to be going back and forth talking about which ones. And you kick us off here at number 15, Aaron. Who you got?
I do. Well, what I wanted to say before we get rolling here, kind of too deep into it, is that I feel like every year I kind of, you know, I keep my ear to the pavement, so to speak, and I try to like keep up with as much as I possibly can. And I feel like this year, probably outside of any, because this is the second or third year that we've done this.
Third or fourth.
Yeah.
Third or fourth.
Oh yeah.
Because I think this March is our 4-year anniversary.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh yeah.
So
that's cool.
So this would probably be number 3 then. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so in any case, I really feel, because, you know, like last year was what it was, and like we should probably preface this with, like, you know, with everything that happened at the end of the year last year, we're a little bit late to the list game of saying our, you know, of talking about this and of this type of video, because this is, and I don't feel like we've actually done that before either. Like, I feel like most of them have been, you know, in like December where we do this usually.
We usually do it in December and we'll release it the first week of the next year, typically. That is a good point though, just so everybody knows, we are, as of right now, recording this on January 9th. So we are a little bit late, but then again, we just dropped our Christmas special yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, like, it's the kind of thing where
slow. So with the holidays were a bit more intense this year than I realized it would be.
Yeah. And you know, it's a matter of, you know, because I mean, fuck, like last year, and I feel like the year before, I mean, it's the reason that, because I remember that Acacia put out It Comes in Waves like December 3rd or something.
That too.
And that made it on my list. So it was kind of like the first year that like we've taken a little bit more time with this, I feel like, than in the previous. And also, like, we've really, you know, we just like, it's like there's nothing else, like the whole year's passed, obviously.
Yeah, nothing else is coming out.
Yeah, so it's I feel like a little bit more strongly in the picks that I ended up going with than in past years, more so just because, like, I don't know, like there's always, I mean, you know how it is, like there's always the potential for something to come out to completely like rip your face off and like, you know, get stuck with you.
And that's happened a couple of times to us.
Yeah.
We'll record this and then something will come out like the next day. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Well, even like when we were sitting there after the last episode that we did, fucking that the Corpse Grinder song with Eric
Yeah.
Utag came out, and we were
Yeah.
listening to that afterward. So that, you know, that's how fast this shit moves.
Yep.
But for me, I want to say that so I don't know. I got a couple of things because I was, I don't know, trying to like keep a little more, I don't know, a little more obvious, I guess. But so I guess like all the top 5 at one point or another for me, the ones that I've chosen have hit me in a very real way. Whether it's like, you know, the super crushing, super heavy type stuff, or the, you know, the stuff that's a little more melodic and a little more colorful, a little more moody. There's a couple at the which is it was kind of one of the first times that I really kind of structured my list around that. And it wasn't until I started putting it together that I was like, I feel like I sort of like allude to this every year, and I sort of like make my picks based off of just what hits me, you know, like what really kind of like, you know, whether it's like the heaviest of the heavy, or whether it's something that just, you know, just shit that, you know, just makes me feel something, it makes me like, you know, grabs me, you know, because there's definitely picks out here that just make me, you know, bang my fucking head and go insane or whatever. And then there's the other ones where it's like, you know, they grab me for a different reason. Like it's a little more, you know, emotionally driving. It's a little more, you know, of that kind of a concept. So I got three that are like the heaviest of, you know, debatably there's a whole long list of honorable mentions that we'll get into that should have been on this, but just, you know, based off of what I'm saying, just didn't. But you know, I think the first 3 are like the heaviest of the heavy that I grabbed onto this year, and then the final 2 that I'm talking about are ones that like kind of represent a little more of like, you know, just some more of like the feel, some more, you know, a little more of like just something a little bit, you know, is very like special to me, because the two that are at the bottom are very specific for that reason. Like they're different than anything else that's come out this year, and they're also 2 of the things that I've been anticipating the most this year. So
and that's something that, to your point, that's something I would say about the 2021 list here. I'm looking at it, and it is on both of our sides. It is a bit more eclectic than it's been in the past. There's definitely certain aspects, subgenres, I guess you could say, within heavy metal that we've never really that's never really made the list until now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely there's all the heavy, but there's definitely other shit going on here too. And I thought that was, when I noticed, I was looking at it, I was like, this is probably kind of this. I mean, like, go turn the clock back to before we ever started this fucking podcast. There are definitely albums on here that I would have never even heard if it weren't for the podcast, and B, I would have probably never given the time of day some of them because of certain things. So that we'll get into. But yeah, so I'm excited. That was a good way to put it, actually. And so yeah, if you wanna kick us off.
So this fluctuated even like both, like, you know, 20 minutes before we recorded this.
Literally like 20 minutes ago. Aaron was like, I don't know.
Man. Like, because, you know, I mean, we'll get into it with the honorable mentions, but like there's a few over the last few days that like have come back on my playlist, and I'm like, man, I did this band pretty dirty. Like, I did a disservice to this. But for the most part, about 90, like I'd say like 98%, I feel pretty comfortable with what I've chosen. So I'm gonna start off with a band that's been like on a lot of people's lists, a band that's been making a lot of waves as far as, you know, like the modern era of deathcore goes. I'm gonna talk about Lifeblood from Brand of Sacrifice.
Oh my god, I love that cover art.
Oh, let me pull up a little bit closer of a picture of it. This band I've been following for a little while, since they've come up. I mean, it's a band that's kind of hard to ignore, because they've like in their writing and in what they've been able to release over the last few years have kind of, they're sort of a part of the next wave of like deathcore, I feel like,
Yeah. Do you know how
in a
long they've
sense
been around? Oh, right there. 2018 at least.
Let me see.
Anything?
Yeah, 2018.
Okay, so they are they're as old as this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's crazy. So I listened to this record, the interstice, I think. It's really, really good. It's pretty short, and that's like a comment that I had on their last two albums was I love this one. God Hand is their first full length record that came out in 2019.
More beautiful cover art. It looks like Conky Greenway shit.
Yeah,
The guy that does
honestly.
the convalescence.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's cool that they have. There's some kind of connection with the art on this and then the one that's on Lifeblood too, because there's the same.
It's the same girl,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
So this God Hand came out, like I said, 2019. And it's the only complaint that I had with it was that I felt like it was so like, because it's 26 minutes, it's 10 songs.
Oh, really?
So the entire thing is like before you know it, it's over.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
And
that's hard to do.
Yeah. And you don't really have, and what they're like, the thing about it is like there's so much in it, and like each of the songs is just like a punch in the face. It's very, it's very much in the same vein as this first EP that they put out.
Okay.
Which is 2018. So that was the first one. But Lifeblood, man, like I'm a big fan of. First of all, it has a ton of guest spots on it.
Oh yeah,
Frankie Palmieri from Ymir, Ben Dewar, Mortal Vessel. This song, probably one of my favorites off of the album. I just love how the ending of it comes through. How it just has that like he's had like because the guest spot is at the end of it, and in that song, Ben Dewar, who's also from, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who's from Shadow of the Tent.
Okay.
And who's another band I've been listening to pretty frequently this year. And the way that they have his line at the end of it, it kind of like repeats over a little bit. And it's this really like, just talking about how, it's Mortal Vessel, like it's this talking about this dude that like, it's like, apocalyptic kind of stuff.
Okay.
How it comes in is really cool. Jamie Graham, who's another guy I'll get into, I'm pretty sure he was a part of I Declare War. I could be wrong about that. I want to look that up real quick because I want to come correct with that. But yeah, that is not at all what I'm talking about. Anyway, there's a lot of guest spots. Tyler Shelton, obviously, Traders fame.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. He has one of my favorite guest spots on the record as well. I'd say probably this one and Mortal Vessel are probably my favorites. Lifeblood, they actually redid with vocalist for Lorna Shore.
Will Ramos?
Yeah. Which they put out recently. I want to say
So they covered their own song with Will?
No, they just had him into a part of it, and that actually came out this year. So
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So some kind of foreshadowing, kind of sort of. We'll get back to it. Yeah. But no, like I think just one of my favorite parts of this record, and just what I feel like Brand of Sacrifice does really well is, for one, the vocals and the lyrics are, just they grab you like a fucking monster, dude. Like I love his lows and how like just how, because they have a lot of moments where it kind of gets a little like metalcore, like it's a little, but in the sense where it's like choruses and like things that you can kind of like call back to. Yeah, just like memorable things that you can kind of like call back to each song and be like, oh yeah, like that's this one, or that's it's very it kind of reminds me of the band Aversion's Crown. I got into I got into that band a few years ago, and the album Zenocide.
Okay.
It has bits of that influence into it. I think whether or not that's a direct influence or not, I couldn't tell you, but it definitely, there's moments of it where it sounds a little bit like that. So I don't know. I think that as far as like you know, because I can't deny that I'm a big fan of deathcore, just in all facets, whether it be just the blackened stuff or just the, you know, like the old school stuff, because it's the type of sound that got me into really heavy shit, like really heavy, you know, and you know,
Yeah, I like it.
without bands like them, and you know, just card effects and all these other bands, like, you know, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be into heavy music really, I feel like. So Brand of Sacrifice to me, I feel like not only is this album one to listen to and to pay attention to, but it's also just, you know, like I feel like it's a pretty natural progression for what deathcore could be in the coming, and
Oh,
especially with, you know, with the influence and with the extra added, you know, sense of, like, you know, Shadow of Intent kind of stuff, and you know, all of their kind of, they kind of wear their influences on their sleeve a little bit, but they also kind of like have their own sound to where it's like the, you know, like I said, it's like the next natural progression of what they've been doing, and I hope to see a little bit more of this kind of sound from deathcore bands in the coming years, because I think that this sound is really cool. And there's a few other
okay.
bands that could have made this list, but I think that for that reason by itself, you know, it belongs on this list. So
Fucking excellent, man.
yeah.
Excellent. You sold me on it.
I know I've played it a
Yeah,
bunch
I
of
know.
times.
Yeah.
Like we've had quite a few times where, like, after we'd be recording, I'd like put on, you know, and you know, Dawn might be, I mean, as far as intro tracks go, it's probably one of my favorites of the year. Like it hits like a ton of bricks, man. And then it kind of sets the standard for the rest of the record. So
Beautiful.
oh yeah.
Did you see that Shadow of Intent is gonna be opening that Cannibal tour?
I did, yeah. Dude,
Oh.
with them, and is it Whitechapel on that?
Yeah, and Revocation.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Yeah. What a knockout.
We're
That's gonna
gonna
be
die
insane.
that night.
Hey.
We are going to die. And
So
I can't wait.
that's my start off.
All right.
Yeah, Lifeblood.
Lifeblood, Brand of Sacrifice. One of the great up and comers.
Lots of really gnarly vocals, lots of really sick breakdowns and
And
bass drops and shit.
so like this is like their first full length, isn't it then?
This is their second.
Okay.
Because God Hand was their first full length, but they
Yeah,
put
but
out,
isn't that only 20 minutes long?
that was yeah.
So,
That was
you know.
26, so a half hour, yeah. So yeah, you know, you're and Lifeblood it's a touch longer. It's about 41 minutes. So
40 minutes. That's an album.
yeah,
That's a full.
yeah.
I think you gotta cross that 40-minute line for it to be an album. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I'd say
30 minutes.
I think like 35, 36.
35. I could give it 35. Yeah, I could go there.
And I only say that because Dolly has put out records that have been about that, and I feel like there are bands that could pull that off. Like there, you know,
Fair point.
You know, if in, and especially within the realm of deathcore, I feel like that's, you know, that's a pretty fair amount of time for, you know, I mean, because it's 12 songs, 41 minutes. You figure, like, you know, about a half, like, it's enough to play it once and then want to go back to it, you know. So that's I guess I kind of indirectly what I look for in newer music. I don't know, maybe I'm kind of sort of like, you know, when I'm getting into newer stuff, I kind of, you know, I pay attention to how long something is. I pay attention to the song lengths and everything like that, which is we've had some pretty back and forth conversations about a lot of things that have, you know, come out this year that have been like 4 times this. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So
that's true. We are splitting hairs at that point.
So that's all right. So anyway, yeah.
All right.
What do we got?
So that's number 15. Number 14 on this year's Out of the Year Filthy 15 list is my first pick. Now this is a band who another example of didn't really get into them before A, recently, but B, the podcast. Band I'd seen a number of times. They were always kind of in my peripherals. But I just never took that dive until their last album, which did appear on our list last year, last year or 2 years ago, whatever the fuck that was. I'm talking about the new one from Carnifex called Graveside Confessions. I really got into Carnifex hard on World War X. And for a lot of people, I think that was a bit of a step away from the more traditional Carnifex sound. But for me, it was exactly what I needed to get into them and then go back and discover all the back catalog and fall in love with all of it.
Mhm.
And then out of nowhere, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to release another album this year because it's pandemic. They had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So then we
Well,
got
and-
Graveside Confessions. What?
With this record, I'm sure you'll probably touch on it, but there was they put out a few songs before
Yes.
over the last year
Yes.
that were either like demos, well, kind of sort of demo size. The song that's on it is different than what's on the single
Yes.
version of it, but and then so yeah, go on.
Yes. So yeah, there were, like right there, you see Graveside Edition. You
Mhm.
know, I think some of those, well, maybe not though. Slit
'Cause
Wrist
those-
Savior is one of them.
I was gonna say
Sure.
because those are, and the thing that piqued my attention about this record is that these 3 songs are from their first album, so they like redid them for this
Oh, I
record.
keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's
That was
the
something
shit.
that was something they did. I don't remember. They put them out in like succession of each
Yes.
other, so that they were, I don't know, like remastered kind of stuff. But anyway,
So for me, Graveside Confession is an incredible follow-up to World War X. It's still, because one of the things that attracted me so much to World War X was just the fucking raw brutality of it. There was no frills anywhere. It
Yeah.
was just a massacre. And they keep all that, but then kind of blend it with the more traditional Carnifex sound flawlessly. Like World War X was pure guttural. This is that, but they also add like there's like an instrumental track. There's a lot more, kind of not a lot more, but there's a bit more like slowed down keyboard sections and things like that. Whereas World War X was all guttural, this one has much more of an atmospheric feel to it that I think does nothing but add to its intensity. It makes it, instead of just a gut punch of heavy, it makes it creepy at certain parts and like haunting. And that combined with, Scotty and Lewis is absolutely one of my favorite lyricists out there today. Every single time I sit down and I read the words that he writes, this dude writes fucking lines that I dream of being able to write one day. Like some of them I can't think of anything off the top right now, but
well, there's that line in the last album.
words
there was
become
some other-
blades as they slip through the flesh of my throat. There we go.
Yeah,
That's from the last album. That's from World War X. But same
Dude,
idea. That same kind of shit.
The other night when we were jamming to this and we were listening to Cemetery Wanderer,
Yes.
I pulled up the lyrics for it and I was like, dude, this is like just it paints, it's very like Dahlia-esque. Like it
Yes.
paints such a it puts you in that scene of
Yes.
like some dude just walking around the graveyard, like cemetery, just fucking late at night and just some crazy shit happening and like just the stuff like. And I really love the hook on that.
Mhm.
How it's all he's talking about like the cemetery wanderer and I have seen some shit or whatever, and it's just all about like walking through the graveyard and stuff. Like it's
It's
very
so
fucking sick.
good. It's
Yeah.
so good.
even like Seven Souls. I remember when we first heard, because we did a reaction to that song, and that song continues between like I'd say like Seven Souls and Graveside Confessions, because I remember that when they played that live with Dahlia.
That's true.
And
We
it
did get
just-
to see some of it live.
Oh,
Yeah.
Graveside, dude, yeah.
Now you
Oh,
step.
my Graveside Confessions. Like,
Oh.
so
Yeah.
sick. The Mad
So-
Notes.
This whole fucking list is the Mad Note. If we
Yeah.
hadn't come up with Filthy 15, we'd have probably called it the Mad Notes.
Oh, that's
God damn it.
might have to talk about that.
Oh boy.
That might have to, yeah.
But yes, without question, these guys, This is a band that has really come up over the last couple years, has just rocket launched really high into my personal rankings of bands that are going right now. Bands where no matter fucking what, if they are in the state of Michigan, I will be in the same room as them without question. You know what I mean? There's just no hesitation there. There's just no thought. It's like, no, they're gonna be, I have to be there. There's no, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that they've become that for me very, very quickly. And this one absolutely blew me the fuck away. It's also a bit, I don't know exactly how much longer, but it's quite a bit longer than World War X.
I'll say it's 15 songs, about an hour.
Yeah, and I think World War X was like 9, something like that. Yeah, let's find out. Oh, it was 2019. All right.
Yeah, 35 minutes.
9 songs. 30. There we go. There's the 35-minute rule.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's,
all right. So yeah, it's a touch longer, and but there's not a moment of wasted time. I thought the instrumental track was brilliant. I don't feel like we get enough instrumental tracks anymore, especially, I mean, shit, when you got a band like this just filled with nothing but incredible musicians, like, yeah, give them 2.5 minutes of just, you know what I mean? Let's hear that shit.
Man. Dude, I'd always use more instrumental tracks on these kind of albums, just because because like, I feel like, you get a collection of songs that represents the band the best, as far as like lyrically and as far as, creatively and every other sense, as far as like what their songs are about. But it's really something else entirely when when you have a section of the record that is just solely based on just the music, like just the the guitarist, everything else that's happening around it. And it almost kind of it just adds that extra element of of depth to the record, I think.
The other thing about these guys that floors me every time, because I feel like I forget this for whatever reason, but oh wait, okay, real quick, shout out God Machine did the artwork for this one. Somebody named God Machine.
Really fucking cool.
But
they always have really cool artwork.
Yeah, oh yeah. The amount of sound that comes out of these guys, and they're only a 4-piece, just floors me when you really think about it.
Yeah.
So absolutely number 14 on our list for this year. My first pick of the night, hands down, without question, has to be motherfucking Carnifex. Love these guys. Scott Ian Lewis has actually like shared and liked some of our posts before and stuff too, that when we've done like dark reflections or reactions to them. Yeah, and that's meant a lot to me. So yeah, absolutely just floored me. One of the best albums of the year, had to be on my list.
Oh yeah. The only reason it didn't, and like I said, I was kind of kicking myself the other night we were jamming to it. The only reason it didn't end up on there is because for the same reason that I'm sure that I know there's a few on your list that narrowly hit mine.
Oh yeah.
But I just spent a little more time with a few of these other ones. But
fair enough.
Carnifex, like they're always a favorite band of mine. I've been following them for a long time, and they're one of those MySpace era bands that,
yes,
like
they were. Yeah, they've been around that long. Yeah.
Yeah. And much like a few of the other bands on our list, it's so fucking sick to see the bands that got me into the genre still doing it and still redefining what they're doing. It's just it's awesome. I love it. And it makes me excited to get into that stuff and to pick up the next record from them, because Carnifex is like they're one of those that like they really like. I was fucking jamming Bury Me in Blasphemy the other day. Like that song hits so hard.
Good.
Really any of like the mid section of World War X.
Yes.
Just fucking
All Roads Lead to Hell is one of my like favorite songs ever.
Yeah.
All roads. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very I'm excited that we even get to talk about them, because it's crazy that they ended up like just we're talking about Brand of Sacrifice, and then we hit Carnifex. It's like,
Mhm.
the old kind of sort of the old. No, I don't even not really feel like calling them the old guard is a bit of a disservice because they're not even really the same band they were when they started. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
from the first iteration of deathcore as we know it, I guess.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So real quick before we get into this next one, I'm gonna take a piss real quick.
All right, I'll pause this.
All right.
Go. And we're back with pick number 13 coming from Aaron. Lucky number
13. Oh yeah. So
now this is full disclosure. I don't really know this band.
well, you're doing yourself a massive disservice because holy shit, like I don't really know where to start with this. So I guess I'll the next one I'm going to talk about is fairly it's a pretty interesting group. Like I kind of struggle to call it like a super group because they've been around for a little while. Kind of a little bit in the underground. They started off kind of unintentionally as an instrumental band. They put out an album last year or 2 years ago. That's all instrumental, and it's basically just because they couldn't find the right vocalist, and then when they came across the guy that they ended up with, they just kind of wrote a bunch of songs and then ended up kind of how they are. There's a whole long story about it. It's pretty interesting, but the band I'm talking about is Alluvial. Their album Sarcoma. Like from the very jump of this record, it is pull it up real quick.
Why did you say supergroup?
Because it is made up of, let me pull up the lineup as well. Sorry, kind of doing this on the fly a little bit.
Good. This is what we do.
So yet again, another like 38 minute, about 40 minute record.
I don't even think I've seen this cover art yet.
Dude, it's beautiful. Like
It's really cool.
Even within the, like there's just a lot of dark coloring to it and stuff. I wish I would have got the vinyl for it because they put out a lot of really cool variants for it. So I reference supergroup because the bassist Tim Walker was from Entheos. Matthew Paluzzo, the drummer, was in a bunch of bands, Zenith Passage, Decrepit Birth, by 1,000. He was ex Black Dahlia Murder. He was in Abiotic. Wes Hawk, he was in Glass Casket. Devin Townsend for Live. He worked for a minute with The Artist Murder. He's the ex Faceless guitarist. He played on what's the record?
And his name's Devin Townsend?
No,
that's what he worked on. Oh, my bad.
Well, that was their. Where did I see that? Yeah, so Wes Hawk, who's their guitar player, who also does a bit of vocals, which I'll get into. He's their main guitar player. He's the lead. Yeah, he's their only guitar player, rather. Worked with all these other bands. So Wes Hawk, and he talks about in the podcast that I heard him on. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember if it was the X-Man podcast or if it was the Rob Flynn podcast that he was on. But he talks about how the last record, which is Autotheism with the Faceless. Anybody who knows anything about the Faceless knows they're a pretty tumultuous band. Like they have a pretty out there history as far as member changes and all that stuff. And it's a pretty interesting note there. And he actually kind of felt like a lot of fans thought that he like ruined the Faceless when really he didn't have much of a say in how that record was written. I don't know, it's a whole big thing. You can kind of look it up. So anyway, He was in the Faceless. He was in the he did some stuff with Die Hard Murder a little bit. It says, I'm not sure. But then Kevin Muller, who's on vocals, was the guy that replaced Frank, who was in Suffocation. Which I'm
Oh.
pretty sure that we saw them at the Music Factory in Battle Creek about 2 years ago when Black Dahlia Murder was doing their first with I want to say it was on the Nightbringers tour with them and Decrepit Birth and like a few other
Oh.
bands.
Okay.
He was also in Pyrexia, Dysentery, a lot of other death metal bands. Really, like one of my like he has this very, it's like a bark, it's like a mid-range kind of like bark, so it's very easy to kind of identify, like a little bit of what he's saying and stuff. Like it's very like he kind of reminds me of like late CJ in that
Oh.
like intensity, in that like just what he's saying and stuff. Like it's very easy to cut out, but it's also very powerful. It has a lot of weight to it. I mean, dude, like straight from Ulysses, which it comes in with a really cool like echoey kind of guitar bit that builds up into what the song is, and then Thy Underling is, it's very chorusy, it's very catchy, and that's another thing that this band does really well, as well. Additionally, is as I was saying with Brand of Sacrifice, they have bits that like hooks and things that you can kind of remember. I love Thy Underling. I think it's one of the best songs on the record. I like Sleepers Become Giants. It's a bit more of like a doom kind of song, whereas it has a little more singing into it. And with that, like the two kind of I don't really know how to describe them. They're a little more like ambient, a little more like slower songs on the record are this Sleepers Become Giants and 40 Stories. I absolutely love 40 Stories. I think it's a song that I've come back to of theirs probably more than any of the others. It has Wes singing on it. It also has a really cool hook to it. And the like all the I think just as somebody who plays guitar, I think like the solos and just a lot of the guitar work on it is really something to pay attention to. Anybody who knows Wes Hawk as a guitar player knows that he's very, very good with just making his solos super unique and stuff. And what you were saying with the last record with Carnifex with the instrumental tracks, Sugar Paper is the song towards the end of the record that kind of snuck up on me a little bit, and kind of like, because it's an all instrumental song. I want to say it
Really?
is, yeah, it's the longest song on the record.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the longest song on the record.
Yeah. So yes, this, just for context, this was the instrumental track. This is the instrumental album that they came out with.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's been a few years since then. And then Putrid Sunrise is super fucking thrashy, super like heavy, like just stuff that you can like headbang to, and it's I mean the whole thing just has a very like the same way that like Human Target, you know what I mean, from Dyer's Murder, like the same way, or like God, like I guess World War X in this same kind of sense, but that like that kind of was produced by Wes Hawk too. But just like Faceless, Dyer's Murder, like who's another band that kind of fits within this kind of like Lamb of God, sort of very like like just super to the point that it's not really like a whole lot of filler stuff in it. Every song off of this, I feel like you could just start it and then just kind of keep it going, and it would you'd find a whole bunch of different stuff on it. Zero is kind of the interlude track, and when I first heard it, I wasn't sure what I was listening to, because what it sounds like to me is like the full like core of the song instrumentally is like it starts off with this like what sounds like people like inhaling, without being able to exhale. So it sounds like someone is like getting choked out a little bit, but it kind of like echoes through each of the headphones, and then it builds up into the song, and then it goes right into Exponent, which is one of the heavier ones too. So there's just a lot of really interesting stuff on it, and but between that, just a lot of, you know, really like to the point kind of like modern metal kind of stuff. And I think that Kevin Muller is one of my favorite current vocalists going, just because of his power and just how much he reminds me of the things that got me into bands like Fit for an Autopsy, Diary's Murder, and just these really, you know, like just super powerful, super heavy kind of vocals that come across this music. That's really cool. And I can't say enough about the solos on it, man. Like Ulysses has one of my favorite solos on it. It's the opening track. And like when I say that when I started this record, when I first heard about it, that they were dropping a new one, just based off of what I heard off of the first record, you know, from this song on, I was like, oh my God, this is something that is gonna be on repeat for me for a long time. And it was. So yeah, so that's my 13. Louisville, man. Sarcoma.
All right.
Louisville. I'm really hoping to catch live at some point, because I don't know how many shows they've done, and or just if they're a touring band really.
Right.
So yeah, it's all very interesting. And this all, like I said, this all came out, you know, at a time when you know, it was sorry, I don't know. Anyway, just at a time when, let me see, it was, sorry, I'm trying to figure out the date. So May 28th. So it was like midpoint in the year, you know.
Okay.
So
Fair
but
enough.
even still, like just from the start, man, like I just Ulysses, Thy Underling, and 40 Stories have been on repeat for me throughout this year, all the way through. And so
Beautiful.
that is why it belongs on this list. A little more of like a one of my favorite current sounding bands of the modern metal age, I suppose. And I hope that, you know, more bands kind of take notice of this and kind of go in this direction, because it's really fucking cool. So
I like it. I did not know that they were. I'd heard the name. I'm not familiar with the sound, but I didn't know that they were made up of people from that were pretty big already. You know.
yeah.
That's
And you can. There are definitely points where you can hear that. You know, just the influence as well. But it's also, I don't know, it's if you ever had the chance to look up, you know, just Wes Hawk in general, because I guarantee that, like, you know, just in listening to his story and listening to what got him into and eventually writing, you know, to this band, because he's had a long history of, you know, he was deployed in the military for a long time. He talks a lot about that on the podcast. I'll send it to you, because I think it only helped me get more into Sarcoma. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Well, moving on then to pick number 12, my second pick. Now, this is a band who we have known a little bit over the last couple of years. We have had the singer on the show multiple times, and we had the opportunity to get to see them live for the first time this year, which absolutely blew both of us away.
Brutal.
Dude.
Good.
I'm talking about band that takes my 12 spot. It's Kill the Imposter with the Violence Sessions. I'm pretty sure this is their first like full length, I want to say. Could be wrong about that.
I think so, yeah. Because I know that they put out
actually, this is technically an EP, isn't it? 7 songs. I can't remember. Who cares? But
whatever, yeah.
Kill the Imposter, the Violent Sessions is a fucking masterpiece. From Unfit Coward all the way to Suffer Alone. Dongan Hills, isn't that the one that's about who is it about? Jason or the Texas Chainsaw guy? It's about one of those guys.
Oh yeah,
slasher.
I think it's probably more Leatherface. I could be
Leatherface. That's right. I think it's about something about Leatherface. But yeah, Broken Crown, False Prophet, Evil Ways. It's a fucking incredible album. Now, I might need your help a little bit on this one because all I wrote down, because I was sitting there, I'd listened to everything talked about him, and I would like jot down a few sentences. All I could say about this one was pure destruction, what it sounds like when you blow up a building.
That's fair. That's fair.
How else do you fucking, I mean, it really is just it's so huge and destructive sounding. Like,
yeah,
holy shit. Like,
that's fair. Yeah, man. I like seeing them live is a whole other thing. And they're a new band too. So they're a band that if they come around, check them out because they're like they give off, and it's I mean, shouts out to Johnny just being the beast of a vocalist and just a frontman that he is, because he reminds me of Johnny Plague a lot.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Mostly just like his just like how commanding he is on stage, and just like how much of like his voice is just incites this violence, I guess. But I don't know, he's this the nicest fucking guy, man.
Oh my god, he's amazing.
So but yeah, dude, like I would like, if I guess for those that are unfamiliar,
uninitiated,
to put them with a few like a sound that's similar, I'd say like, picture like Filth, like Traders, kind of like down tempo kind of stuff.
I would say though, because one thing we know a lot about Johnny is that he came up in more or less came up in the New York hardcore scene. You can definitely feel that influence in this music. It's not, I would not classify this as hardcore at all, but you can hear the influence, it's got every ounce of the intensity that people associate with New York hardcore. Yeah,
it definitely has a real weight to it. I think it's cool throughout each of the songs. Yeah, dude, I remember driving around listening to this one time because I think we might have had him on an episode or something, and I was trying to like get into it or whatever, but like just like it's as good, and it's like I said, it's as good live as it is on the record, and I feel like they do a really good job of kind of centering in on that, but also just not taking away from like the recording of it, because every song on it I'm even kind of struggling on how to like word it, because it's so like you feel it, you know what I mean? Like it just, I don't know if it's his vocals, I don't know if it's the tone of the guitars, or like
there is something about his vocals that's so unique,
because it's not like what you would expect from this kind of a sounding band. Like the instrumentals and stuff is a bit more of like the hardcore kind of stuff, I guess, in like in the guitars and everything like that. But his vocals are, he's like actually really fucking yelling on this stuff. Like
it's like he's instead of just like the normal like growl, you can hear like a strain.
There's a pain to it.
Yeah.
So
and that just brings the intensity level to 11. Like it's,
and that doubles live too.
Yes.
And like he was, coming from somebody that has their eyes dyed black. Like, it's like you actually fucking feel it, man. Like it's, I don't know, they're like of the bands that we've talked to and the ones that we've actually been able to see on this show, like they're one that sticks out to me because they just have such a like visceral kind of like feel to them, and that album captures that perfectly, I think. And
I believe they have a whole new album coming here in a month or two. March. I think March. They said they're dropping the next one. So
nice, yeah. Well, that's the other thing about this particular release is that I think that with a little more time in the oven, with a little more like a few more songs that are kind of, because I think there's a few that were like demos that weren't necessarily because
Wait a minute. I did that wrong. Not Dongan Hill. Yeah, you're right. I fucked up. I forgot about the Tommy Hewitt Diaries. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That's what I was fucking up. I fucked that up. Sorry, guys. I fucked that one up. My bad. But yeah, I think that was just a single.
Yeah,
I want to say because it's not on that. So
I think Dongan Hills was too, because I remember talking about that on the episode with him.
But the one about the serial killer was the Tommy Hewitt Diaries, I believe.
Yeah. Which I think I'm pretty sure that was Leatherface.
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with Texas Chainsaw series. But yeah, I don't know. But what I was getting at was that's something that makes me excited about their next release, is that because there are moments of it where you can kind of tell that the production of it is a little different on some of the songs. Like you kind of you hit the second or the first two songs kind of sound like they're recorded somewhere differently because the mix is different, and then like there's a song towards the end of it that just doesn't sound like it was a part of those, but it still fits with what they're doing, so it works within the scale of the EP. But that's something that makes me excited about the next thing that they put out, is that just based off of the sound that they've been able to build and what they've been able to do with because it's to me there's something to be said about the simplicity of what they do that is just powerful to me.
It's very raw, stripped back sound.
Yeah. And so I really want to see just have more of that. Yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely. So we will.
Really fucking sick, man.
But the one that takes the 12th spot on this list is Kill the Imposter, the Violent Sessions. Absolutely unbelievable. If you get the chance, go see these guys live. They got a bunch of shows in Florida right now. They're from Florida, so they're always playing somewhere in Florida. And I believe they have a new full length coming. I want to say in March. I think I'm right about that. So, I know they've talked about it. I think they even posted a picture of the cover out already. So, and he talked about it the last time he was on our show. He said there would be a new album next year. So, so yeah, everybody keep your eyes out. All things, check out Kill the Motherfucking Imposter, Masters of Brutality right here.
Yeah. Fucking
Eric,
awesome, man. Yeah.
What's our number 11?
Well, so this band, if you can read the scribbles on my shirt, even though it is probably one of my favorite logos in like modern music, like modern metal,
you can at least read it.
Yeah, fucking yeah.
It doesn't look like a tree branch.
Yeah. I mean, it does and it doesn't. I don't know. It's like, yeah. But anyway,
like
the band I'm fucking talking about, and the one that, yeah, it's a lot of things. The album I want to talk about, and a band that I've been very, very very quickly, and also just like been paying a bit more attention to over the last, I don't know, fucking, let me see. Oh, I guess I'll pull it up. I'm the Jamie for the day.
Yeah.
The band I'm talking about obviously is Vulvodynia, and the album in question is Praenuntius Infinity.
Jesus fucking Christ, people.
Yeah. It took me a minute to figure out how to say it. The only reason I know how to say it is because it's a lyric in one of their songs. So maybe I'm a poser. I don't know. Fuck you. Whatever. Anyway.
That Latin? The fuck?
I don't know.
Fair enough. Go on. You're good.
It is the name of the monster that's on the cover. I give you any context. So.
Oh, okay.
Praenuntius Infinity is the, oh man, I don't know how many 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have, Vulvodynia's had 4 records up to this point. And this album is the first concept record that they've done since Oh, Jesus. Let me pull it up. So this this album is a continuation of the ideas that were on this record. As
Finis
is,
omnium ignoratium.
yeah. Which
Finis omnium ignoratum.
as you can see, Praenutius Descends.
Oh, okay.
Is a
There
callback
you go.
to, and I'm pretty sure this was just like either an EP or it was like one of the first things that they ever did.
Okay.
2015. So maybe it was the second EP that they did. So this band's been making some waves over the last few years just because of like they're from. I want to make sure I get this right because they really deserve a lot of credit for the sound that they have and for just kind of what they've done for the scene. So they are from. Let me see. I want to say they're based in South Africa. I want to say.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And you know, for a band, then they've really kind of taken. They were kind of one of the first instances of the slam genre that I've been introduced to.
Okay.
With this record, it's called Psychosadistic Design. Completely different feel to Praenutius, because it is, as you can see from the artwork, it's not a very there's a lot going on in that bitch, like and
Very butchered at birth. Reminds me of Butchered at Birth.
Yeah. You know, Drown in Vomit, King Emesis, Flesh Taylor, Lord of Plagues, Forced Fecal Injection,
Oh my god.
Bestial Insemination, Wall of Corpses, you know, that kind of very, very Cannibal Corpse, right?
Yeah. Very like gore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started to like I got a little more because like straight up, like, you know, there's a time and a place for that kind of a sound. Like there's a time and a place for me for like where it's like that's what I want to hear. Like,
Fair
and
enough.
as weird and wrong and depraved as that sounds, like it fits the music. It just I'm not crazy. It just
sometimes we go to dark metalheads live in dark places.
Hey,
So
you know, we've all got dark passages, you know.
yes,
So.
there it is.
Bit of a
We
foreshadowing.
fucking take band pictures in the woods with makeup on. So
yeah, yeah, it's
what do you want?
So there's a time and a place for it. So this record, like when I first heard songs of, because you know, like, you know, it was, I mean, you know, Alex Terrible, who's from Star to Prevail.
Oh shit, yeah.
Sam from Cerebral Bore, who's one of my favorite bands.
Waking the Cadaver, Cranium,
yeah.
Clawhammer. I know all those
Warren
bands.
From Oceano.
Ingested,
Archon from Ingested. Yeah. You know, so that like through listening to this album and through like, you know, and just knowing what I know about Vulvodynia, who are, you know, the band that kind of, you know, the genre of slam is to me, and this might be, I might be wrong about this, it might be controversial, I don't give a fuck, I don't know, I might be wrong about this, I don't know, but like to me, like what really introduced me to the like what this genre of like slamming brutal death metal was Vulvodynia. And for a while that was what they kind of, and they still kind of list themselves as. And you know, so for a band like this to come out of a place like, you know, South Africa and to have it be like this, and you know, just to grab you the way that it does, and also, you know, their vocalist Duncan Bentley, who is on, I mean, he's been known for doing a bunch of different guest spots. He's been on, you know, he's done a lot of covers and stuff. So like they've really put their kind of sound on the map for, you know, for a long time. So Praenutius like was like almost instantly from the second that I want to say it was either Shadowy Descent or Eternal Wasteland of Galaxies that came out, like from the second those songs got put out, I was like, oh fuck, man, like this is gonna be something that is really, really cool. I didn't know going into it that it was a concept record. And the concept is Praenutius, who's this big giant fucking monster that's on the cover is like the first intro track talks about um
Well, I do find it interesting if you read the titles of 2, 3, 4. We got the shadowy descent of Gaia. I think Gaia is a deity, like a god, or it is God. Okay.
Gaia is like the god of like the earth, right?
Okay.
He's
So
like,
then so the shadowy descent. So
Mhm.
Gaia's going away. Then we have, so now God's gone. We have eternal wastelands of galaxies. And then Prometheus ascends. He's the
Yeah.
one coming up. Does that have anything to do with the story?
Yeah. So um the actual like intro track is talking all about, says before time itself, the elder gods drenched in sin gave birth to an atrocity devoid of empathy. Fearful of what they had created, they cast the child into the abyss. Forgotten and alone, he lay in silence. Forsaken, the gods spent millennia in the shadows, wondering what cursed him to this fate. Ravenous hunger awoke within, omnipresence, true power therein. His crooked tooth grin lights up the dark. On a wicked quest he shall embark as Praenuntius Infinity. So the
Oh.
first
So
the
do
first
they actually say that in the first track? Do they like actually speak it?
yeah, it's like spoken word underneath this like
That's sick.
this instrumental that comes back in yet another smaller instrumental track, Whispers of Calamity.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically it's the story of Praenuntius, who's this big monster that travels through the multiverse and like eats galaxies, and like they're trying, like there's a song, Seven Judges is probably one of my favorite songs, where it's like talking about how like the ones that created him are trying to find a way to destroy Praenuntius and like all this stuff. And
Oh
you know,
man.
towards the end of it, but like dude, like just and eventually, you know, Deicido Finality, Funeral of the Gods. This record has one of the gnarliest alarm clock riffs, I guess we'll call it, that just like it starts at the end, and he just like, there's this vocal that happens over it that's like this, like sounds like it's just straight from like it's like this like gurgling sound, but it fits with the brutalness of like this like arpeggio that's happening at the same time, and it just kind of fades out.
Oh, I love it.
Dude, like it is.
I have not heard this album yet, but you just, based on the story, you've sold me. I want to know. That is that's a fucking, that's a metal band writing a Marvel movie right there. Like
Yeah, like,
that's
and
what that is.
that's the thing is like, so all of these songs aside of Shadowy Descent, Eternal Wait. Yeah.
Hang on. Hang on. Scroll down real quick. Let me just make sure I'm right. Yeah. So there's there's only one track on this whole album where they Spotify marked it explicit. Go up. Look right there.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only one with a little E.
That's weird. I didn't
like,
notice
we can't
that.
understand the rest of the words.
That's funny.
Go on though. Sorry.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, no, that's funny. So yeah, and honestly, that's, you know, Maddie Way, John Huber is let me see, because there's a ton of different guest spots on it. Like you'll see,
Yep.
Oliver Reddy, who's from Archspire.
Oh, nice.
Has the big fast crazy thing from it's like just before, it's like a pre-chorus kind of. He goes into like this really big like just Archspire shit that he does on this song. I think this is probably one of the strongest, you know, just solely based on like, as far as like the singles go, I think it's one of the strongest just because of the fucking riff that opens it up, man. It is just like, you know, it's shit that just gets your head going, you know. It's so fun, and the hook on it's really cool too. But yeah, man, I can't say enough about this. I think, And this one kind of rounds out the heavy, super fucking heavy portion of my list, because I mean, like when I first heard this and everything that had you know kind of come out before, like a couple of singles and stuff, and you know the we can't talk about this album without talking about the social media stuff that they've been doing before it came out. There was a bit where dude.
Okay, well, bring up a better picture of it, because
Yeah.
you can't really. His name's. Does he have a name? It's like their mascot. It's like their Eddie, right?
Bob the Butcher.
Bob the Butcher. That's right. So we got Bob the Butcher, and what you're bring it up. But you have been a fan of them for quite a while, so they've been on my radar. But then earlier this year, they came up with one of the most brilliant heavy metal marketing things I've ever seen anyone do, where they just had everyone in the whole fucking metal world superimposing Bob the Butcher onto other, like their own other people's albums and stuff like that, to like where in the world is Bob the Butcher, kind of like where's Waldo or whatever. It was like absolutely genius.
Every other day it seems like he would end up on a different album. So this is the
that's him right there, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is the art for Psycho Sadistic, which is 2 albums before this. Mob Justice was before, when they kind of started to change. So yeah, as you can see, it's very there's a lot happening here. But so this is the main guy where he kind of started. I'll pull up Pray Nuntius. I just want to give some context.
Yeah.
Nuntius. So this is I gotta find a better picture, but that sucks.
Dude, I don't think I've looked at this up close yet. Yeah, get it. Let me see that monster. Oh God. Just go back to the good
yeah.
That's fine.
Jeff Bezos, more fucking money. Damn it.
Dude, when you kind of describe that it's like a monster going through the multiverse, it almost looks like a cross between Violator and Venom.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like Violator from Spawn, you know?
Yeah, there you go. It's a little
more. There it is. Look at
so
that thing. That thing is beautiful.
Yeah.
It is a gorgeous monster. Oh my God. I love dude, I like the right above the girl's head. Like you can see like the tentacle like opening up at the end.
Yeah.
Almost like a Doc Ock arm. That's sick.
And the cool thing about it is they reference like bits of what's going on the cover during a bit of the songs. Like there's awesome. There's a fucking I want to say what is the song?
That is unbelievable artwork.
It's either 7 Judges or Ravenous Revolution, when they talk about that the blue shit coming out of their faces and stuff, and being like how that's like his like thing that he puts into him or whatever through the tentacles and stuff. And
Aaron
what?
Have you ever looked up Vulvodynia?
Yeah, and that we're not going to talk.
Do you know what it means?
Yes.
We're definitely talking about this.
I'm fully aware, and that is where the slam element of this comes into play.
I was just trying to find the cover artwork artist. I did not expect this.
Yeah.
So what vulvodynia means, I thought it was a Latin word or something. What vulvodynia means is vulvular pain, chronic unexplained pain in the area around the opening of the vagina.
Yeah. Yeah. So whenever you go to look this up into YouTube, you like don't just type in the band name, because you will find like, symptoms or
that's what I just found.
How to take care of it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
That is so fucking funny.
But to answer your question,
did not see that coming.
The artwork was done by an artist.
You got it?
Yeah, it's in the liner notes.
Nice.
Daemorph. Daemorph.
Have not heard of him.
Design
Cool.
layout was done by Matty Way, who does a guest spot on here, and he's also, I want to say he was in Abominable Putridity, who's another
Okay.
slam band that
Okay.
kind of is like next to Vulvodynia a little bit.
Nice.
We're kind of like the two bands that are like the try like they're like it's like this, well, maybe to a lesser extent as far as globally or whatever, but like they're like the Slayer Metallica kind of like the slam genre. Maybe that's controversial, I don't know, but that's at least,
no, I get it though, fair enough.
yeah, because those are like the two bands that kind of really really just got me into this wild shit, man. Like,
That is fucking hysterical.
yeah, it's not well, and it goes with the, because a lot of like slam bands and stuff, it's very like gore, it's very like grotesque.
Well, yeah, like there was one song
yeah.
that was like drowning in vomit or whatever.
Yeah.
That's it's very much, it reminds me of some songs that Aaron from Victims of the System writes.
yeah, totally. But what I'll say about it is that, and I guess to kind of round it out so we can move on a little bit, the thing that I love most about this record is that, like, because I was a fan of this album, Mob Justice, which came out 2019. The song, the title track by itself, they did a song with Trevor from Black Dog Murder as well on this record.
Oh, sick.
And Alex Taylor from 11 Elements, who's awesome. But what I love, because like this album, it kind of like it wasn't one of their best, and it was kind of mostly and when I say that is because like it didn't really catch like Psycho Sadistic did. I feel like in the grand scheme, like it still, like, people talked about it, but wasn't really one of those that was like notable. But what I loved about it was like the title track, Mob Justice, is probably one of my favorite songs that they'd written up to this point. Because it's so like, it's kind of stripped back, and it's not so much focused on like the gore aspect of it, which I feel like you can really go one of like a few ways with this band. But Praenutius, and this of course was a split between them and Arcrania, who are another band that's pretty popular in the slam genre. For this song, "Send Them to the Slaughterhouse," kind of shit. Pretty fucking cool. But yeah. So to my point, what is like, I didn't think that I was gonna like this as much as I did, but like as the singles were coming out, and as I was finding a little more about it and how it was a concept record, and how like throughout the album there's like little bits that kind of return back to it, and it's a fairly lengthy record, but it doesn't really feel like it. Like they fill up a lot of space with just some really cool, a lot of really cool vocals in it. There's a lot of cool lyrics and stuff that tie in with the concept, and there's also, for the whole, like, because it's a fairly like sci-fi style lyric, kind of like concept. So with that, there's bits of the sound, there's bits of the music that kind of sound like they're, it's very like sci-fi sounds, very like, and I guess I don't really know how to describe it.
It's like
properly.
Old school, kind of.
Yeah, kind of like, just
Healy.
Just like,
because that could be.
So
that interests me. That interests me.
As a Doctor Who fan, I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a bit, the hook in Agony has this like kind of like thing underneath of what he's saying that sounds really cool to me. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Yeah. Shadowy Descent, there's a breakdown at the end of it that's probably one of my favorites on the album, that just has this like like just how it sounds with the chugs. It just has this extra little bit to it that's, I don't know, there's a lot of cool like moments of, just added effects and just added things that really put you in the mind of like just this, some planet somewhere that this thing is just attached to and is just attacking.
Did this come out before November?
I want to say so. Yeah.
I feel like it did. But have you seen the movie Eternals yet? The Marvel movie?
I haven't.
So there are these monsters in Eternals that are called the Deviants. That's what that thing looks like. Because the Deviants, their skin is kind of like shimmery and colorful, but it's like they're dark, they're evil. So they're monsters, but their skin is like rainbow fluorescent, kind of like this thing. I like it. I like this thing a lot. I'm gonna buy this just for the cover art.
I mean, that's why I got the fucking shirt from it, because the shirt's even like darker artwork and stuff. I feel like it looks pretty cool. But as far as like the actual, you know, cover art and stuff, I feel like it does it justice for it, because there's like, and even as you're flipping through the book, like it kind of like zooms in on some of the stuff that you don't see. Like there's just the faces of people, there's the actual monster, you know, there's the big like fucking, you know, as you're flipping through it, like even on the inside of it, they went as far as to do like a reversible cover.
No way.
So that's and when I bought this, I thought I was just getting the actual like the jewel case of it. I didn't realize that they were sending in this. But so there's this piece, which is like the, you know, the main bit of it. But then when you flip it around, it's everything without the cover, or like without the lyrics or the, you know, the logo and all that stuff. So
that's dope. Oh yeah, because you got it in a weird like DVD style box.
Yeah. Which kind of almost added to the aesthetic of this just being like this big like sci-fi alien monster kind of album, which is pretty much what it is. So I don't know.
Beautiful.
Honestly, I can't recommend it enough. It's kind of surprised me how much I gravitated towards it, because of the fact that I just, you know, I was always a fan of their, you know, their other stuff, but like I think it's just the way that it all sounds together. Like I love the guitar tone of it. I love how the vocals are just exactly like perfect. It's like the perfect mix of just that like guttural, like growly kind of, you know, stuff that I love in slam music, and also just the, you know, the actual like hooks and the things that you can kind of pick out and, you know, keep going back to. It's one of those that like, you know, like even like the first half of the album is like, I think you know, the two Banquet of Enigmatic Horrors and the Shadowy Descent and Eternal Wasteland, those were the 4 singles off of it, and those are like within the first half of the album. So the first half is all singles, and then once you get into the last half of it, man, that's
kind of like the new Carnifex album, actually.
Yeah, like it's really fucking special, and it has some just moments where it's just like I said, like just alarm clock riffs and just like all that just cool fucking shit. You know, I don't know. It's beautiful. I can't say enough about it. So as far as like to round out the heavy of my list, I couldn't think of a better one to talk about than Prenuntius Infinity. So I'm gonna be
And that's actually pretty interesting, because the next one, my next pick, is the first one. Now, it's the first one I would describe as a step away from what I normally might gravitate towards. So are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. So
number what was that, 11?
That was 11. That was 11.
Vulvodynia.
Vulvodynia. Say that 10 times fast.
Get out, right? Yeah.
Next up, number 10, the band that takes the number 10 spot on our list.
Cracking the top 10, baby.
Again, now this is not, their sound is not one I typically, is not one I typically gravitate towards, but there is just something about these guys that I cannot get enough of. Like, and this is another EP. This is not a full length. This is a band who we were introduced to, much like Kill the Imposter, through Keith from the Convalescents, and they have appeared on our show a couple of times. And Oh yeah, you weren't with me, but I did get a chance to see them once earlier this year down there at the Music Factory in Battle Creek.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Great
that's
venue.
right. And when I saw them, they performed this shit as a 2-piece flawlessly. A 2-piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so off the rip, I'm talking about Scream at the Sky, Texas's own Scream at the Sky, Stay in the Clouds, the Stay in the Clouds EP. Amazing. They signed it for me. Not only that, they sent us this lovely Christmas card. Sent us this lovely, and this, I'm not going to read what's in there because that's just for us, but I just want to give a shout out to the boys for sending us. That's it made me go, God damn it, why didn't I think of that? Everybody's getting a Christmas card next year.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone. Yeah. So that's 100%. But this, so I actually was lucky because they when did they play? September? I want to say they played in September or October down there in Battle Creek. And this album wasn't going to be out for another week, but they had it for sale at the show. So I copped it. And so I did get to hear it a little bit early. That's the advantage of going to the shows, people. Look at that too. Like even the actual, like this is not, it's way greener in person. It's like a emerald. It's like a really nice emerald green, but the camera's not, the lighting in here sucks. It's not picking it up right, but it's a really cool, like fluorescent emerald green. And you know, it's one of the bands that almost made the list that we've been talking a lot about, which we'll talk more about later, I'm sure, is Architects. And when you were talking to me about Architects, I was like, are these guys on the radio yet? Because like this sounds like a great band for being on the radio. That is also how I feel about Scream at the Sky. I don't understand how these guys aren't way too big to know who the fuck we even are, because they have like this. It's Welcome to Hook City. First of all, every song has an amazing hook that will get stuck in your tooth for a week. Like, and all what, five or six tracks? Yeah,
like five songs,
five tracks.
Another EP.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like My Words, Another Day in Hell, you know, Last Blue Day, Without You, Burn This World. All of them are just like really hooky. They have that really awesome like southern groove in the guitars kind of like the Pantera thing a little bit, like that really cool southern groove that they brought out. Brian is a monster on vocals. They do the screaming, but it's mostly cleans, which is why this is something I wouldn't normally gravitate towards. Cleans in the way where it's like a more visceral Jonathan Davis, I want to say.
Oh yeah. I agree with that. Yeah,
like, but more intense as a you know what I mean? Like, but kind of that sort of range. You know what I mean? And I tell you what, dude, he hits it perfectly live. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
I could believe that. Yeah.
And watching it, because he does the guitar and the vocals, and then when I saw them perform, it was him on guitar and vocals, and Phil, I want to say, Phil on drums, and no bassist, no backup guitar, and it sounded absolutely pitch perfect. And man, like it just really, much like Vulva did it for you, I guess. This is not one that I expected to rank so highly this year with me. Like I knew I was gonna like it because I liked their first EP, but there was just something about this one that I just couldn't put down for like 3 weeks. I just kept going back to this over and over and over, like just how hooky it is, and like the lyrics. That's the thing is you can have a great hook, but if the lyrics aren't there, it's kind of like falls short. Like the hook has got to be something you want to scream in the car. You know what I mean? And this has all of that. And it's just, I was very, very impressed by their live performance, and getting to see them and meet them in person. They are the coolest fucking dudes ever. Absolutely. I mean, fuck, they sent us a Christmas card for Christ's sake. Coolest dudes ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just kept going back to this one over and over. And so when I was going through the list of fucking 20, 25 albums that I was going through and narrowing it all down, I got to this one and I was like, there's no question. There's no question. This has to be on the list because this is like, it's definitely one that I feel like should be on regular rotation on radio stations across the country. It definitely fits into that sort of category. It's not overly vulgar. There's not a lot of screaming that's unintelligible for people that don't listen to this stuff regularly. You know, it's hits. It's hits. You got to hit. It's a hit. It's the whole fucking thing's a hit. Like, so yeah, and also much like, I mean, quite frankly, we talked about this before we started, much like a lot of the bands on this list, a lot of these bands earned their spot on our list this year because we just don't see enough other people talking about it. And this is definitely one of
100%.
them.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of them that we deserved. We felt deserved a spotlight that we don't see it getting anywhere else. So hands down, Scream at the Sky, Stay in the Clouds. Check this shit out. Brilliant 5-track EP. And if you like, you know, some really heavy metal with some great clean lyrics and big giant hooks that'll just get the party started, motherfucker. The Mad Notes. Nooch. This is one to get into because I think they have, scroll down real quick. What do they got?
I just went to
so they got a few things out.
Yeah.
But I think one or two of those might just, Another Day in Hell's just a single. Failures is the acoustic version. So yeah, it's the self-titled and Stay in the Clouds.
Yeah. Admittedly, I thought that because I remember we did
World of Hate's such a good song.
Yeah, Save Yourself.
So Save Yourself is the shit.
Yeah, man. I pretty much ever since we had Brian on the show, I wish I would have been able to get out to that show that they were at around here because I don't know when they'll be coming back. But when they do, I'll check them out. But yeah, man,
got
like
something to say to that. Go on.
Well, like pretty much ever since we had him on the show, we talked to him, like probably one of the coolest dudes that we've talked to thus far. You know, but just in his, like, I super fucking admire his like just work ethic, man. Like his just way of like, you know, I'm gonna do this, you know, come hell or high water. I'm like, it's all me, you know.
He's got
like,
that drive. He's got that Jasta drive, the Keith drive of these guys that, you know, that just don't stop.
Yeah. So that's, you know, that was that.
I admire that.
Even still, you know, after all the people that we talked to, like, that's still, you know, not to discredit any of those people, but like,
absolutely not.
Yeah, I just like that episode to me sticks out in my head whenever we talk about, you know, guests and stuff, because he just had this way of like, I don't give a fuck what happens, I'm gonna do this, and you're gonna sit and listen to it.
Much like Johnny, too.
Yeah. Same exact
all these
kind of
guys
attitude and stuff. Yeah,
great
you know,
dudes.
that just, you know, it's awesome. So.
Now, to what you just said, you don't know when they're going to come back. Well, I don't know anything. All I know is things that I've seen on Facebook. That's all I know. But here's what I know. Today, a huge, for me personally, especially me, and I imagine you as well as fans, we had a gigantic announcement, in my opinion. We had an absolutely massive announcement. That announcement is that Michigan Metal Fest is coming back this year in 2022. And that is huge. That is the first place I ever saw the Convalescents. That is, I've seen you guys in Recorruptor there many, many times. First time I was ever introduced to the Breathing Process. First time I was ever introduced to, oh my God. I'm blanking on a Cursed Creator.
Yeah.
Raven Black.
Mhm.
We've seen
Totally.
Whitechapel, Devil Driver, Hatebreed there.
Yeah.
Head PE. We've seen everyone. It is absolutely one of the greatest festivals I've ever even heard of in my life because of they have these amazing headliners, and it's an amazing opportunity for smaller bands to have an amazing experience and a great day with their fans and getting in front of new fans and playing for everybody and things like that. That was announced that it's officially coming back in 2022 this year, August 3rd. It will be back in Battle Creek. It's happening. And you fucking goddamn right, hell or high water, we will be there. While I was just scrolling on Facebook, I noticed a one Mr. Brian Carter post about that, and then he said this is going to be a hell of a show. Now, why would a band from Texas post about Michigan Metal Fest if they weren't gonna maybe mosey on up here? That's all I'm saying. I don't know shit. But if I had to put money down on will they be back in Michigan before the end of the year, it would be yes.
Yeah.
So, and especially if it's there with our family in the convalescents and whoever else they can bring, buckle up for Halloween round 2, baby.
Yeah, no shit.
Here we go. Yeah. I'm so excited. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Number 10, coming in at number 10 on this year's Filthy 15. Scream in the Sky, Stay in the Clouds. Check it out. We love you guys. Next up now.
Give me you wanna
quick pause?
Yeah.
Okay, quick pause. Be right back. So yeah, we paused right there, and I figured that was a good breaking point, about an hour and a half to break, good spot to break up into the next episode, which is coming. If it's not already out, it'll be out tomorrow. We're working on I'm still working on getting these chopped up a little bit to make it a little bit more, instead of like a 7-hour episode. You know what I mean? I think we recorded for about 6.5 hours in total over the course of 2 days. So yeah, it's pretty intense, but we had an absolute blast, and I hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you like any of the albums or don't like it, don't agree with our picks, let us know in the description below. If we missed anything, keep in mind we still got a few more episodes to go, but if you feel like we missed anything in the top 5, let me know below. We're always looking for new stuff to check out, and let us know your most anticipated for 2022. But that is going to do it for this episode of Lost in the Dark, episode 1, part 1 of the Filthy 15 2021 list. And I cannot thank you all enough for taking this journey with us. But without further ado, I'm going to wrap this one up, and we will be back again, if not already, within the next 24 hours with part 2, and then either part 3 or 4. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but definitely part 2 is right around the corner, and I hope you all enjoy taking this ride with us, and I'll see you there. So raise your fucking horns and bang your goddamn heads. We love you all to death. Good night. Blah.